So let me show you this tetrahelix model. It's the blue version. This is the same model but with its yellow faces showing. It consists of 12 tetrahedrons connected by their edges. There's magnets embedded to keep them connected so it can be twisted back into shape. I'll demonstrate that with the blue version. And it can be twisted back into shape as well. You can see here that each tetrahedron has 2 yellow faces and 2 blue faces. Again, embedded magnets keep the faces connected when brought to proximity. And if I just connect the yellow faces, that demonstrates how the blue tetrahelix is formed. You notice it has a counterclockwise twist. And I can demonstrate the yellow version by just connecting all of the blue faces together. So we have 2 counterclockwise versions so far. And now I can demonstrate that there's a clockwise version, but to do so you have to connect alternate colors. Yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. And in doing so, now you come up with the tetrahelix with a clockwise twist. I'll demonstrate the other version of that by starting by making the alternate color connections. And that's just the other version, the clockwise tetrahelix. 2 counterclockwise and 2 clockwise versions. And now what I found interesting is if I take 2 tetrahelix and join them side by side, they join to each other but introduce gaps in the original tetrahelix, and actually seems to form this more of an oblong tetrahelix with a shallower pitch. And if you follow my right thumb, you sort of might see the new helix I'm referring to. And now when the 2 tetrahelix are separated, the gaps disappear. Let me show you another way of creating this oblong tetrahelix from a long single strand. I found that it took a different color sequence of basically 3 blue connections and 3 yellow connections, another 3 blue connections, etc. And in doing so I can create this oblong tetrahelix from a single strand. Now another thing you can do is 2 of these could be joined together. And now, as a pair, these can be unraveled and pulled apart. And then they want to rejoin into a single regular tetrahelix. They are quite sticky. The strands like to stick together whatever way they can. But this forms a very stable tetrahelix when the 2 are raveled together. Let me show you this in a little bit more detail. There are several versions of these, and this is the all blue version. Now I'm just raveling it with the yellow sides connected. And notice now that the blue tetrahelix has a clockwise twist to it, unlike the original one you saw that had the counterclockwise twist to it. These are a little tricky to unravel. If you twist them out, they'll unravel and rip apart. Let me show you the all yellow version. Again, now it has a clockwise twist, which is just the opposite than the original yellow tetrahelix had. Let me rip this one apart. And now if I connect it sort of in an alternating fashion, there's another tetrahelix with a clockwise twist, but now it's an alternating yellow-blue pattern. There's another version like this as well, so that's 4 in all for the clockwise version. And now there is 4 versions in the other direction. So this here is the counterclockwise twist, and you notice it's got a 2 blue, 2 yellow, 2 blue pattern to it. It forms again the opposite twist. Just take this part slowly so you can see the unraveling. Now let me show you the magnetic configuration. So the 2 blue faces have a north and south pole, and the 2 yellow faces on each tetrahedron have a north and south pole as well. I guess 4 unique identifiers for the 4 faces of each tetrahedron. And this, let me demonstrate a couple tetrahelix, and notice the magnetic direction of north-south is maintained throughout the faces. I'll demonstrate a few more, and you'll see the magnetic direction is always in a consistent direction. That's the blue version, maintains the north-south sequence. Now this is the alternating color pattern for the clockwise twist, and it obeys the same magnetic sequence. Now another interesting behavior is that while raveling 2 threads together, you can make direction changes along the way to go from clockwise to counterclockwise. There's various versions, of course, of this you can make. And this one other variation that has a bit of a kink in the tetrahelix, but it creates sort of a universal joint, where these 6 tetrahelix create sort of a compound joint and can be rotated to 2 different positions. They'll lock into place at both ends. Additional kinks can be introduced, and various different structures result. Just playing around here. Bit of a pretzel twist. This is more of a close-up of that same joint. You notice there's a mix of the oblong tetrahelix and the single helix. Here are just a few examples of looping the threads. and arranging them into various symmetric patterns emerge. I'll need to explore this a little bit more in a subsequent video. This is just a couple samples.